This is how I'm using AI to run my book ads on Facebook. And a little background, I'm an author, used to make $20,000 a month, and then I stopped, and now this is my journey back, and I've decided to do it, creating an app, which I'm calling the Passive Income Machine app. So a lot has changed since my last video. I used to use this Passive Income Machine app to look for ads that were successful in the past and to test them and to figure out which ones were best and which ones to run. And I started thinking, why should I be the one thinking of what ads to run when all the data is there? So I came up with the idea of having the app and the AI behind it decide what ads should be run and for how long, and just take over the entire automation process entirely. So I created a page called the ad recommendations page, and this gets complex. So I'm gonna try and describe exactly how I'm doing this, because A, it's fascinating, and B, it seems to be working. So my first thought was that I needed to figure out a way to quantify ads, right? Because AI is really good at categorization, like just taking things and saying, this is the same thing as that. This is the same thing as that. And also analyzing, like taking these numbers, crunching it, and coming up with a result. So I needed a way of creating, making my ads quantifiable. So this is an example of one of my ads here. And I name them in a certain way to tell me what's in the ad. So this naming system here, TTB is the name of the series, 4 is the book in the series, FR is for the territory, which is France, and this is chap is the structure of the text within the primary text section. NA, Gaga, is the interest that I'm targeting. W is gender, and this is the age range here. So I historically break down all of my ads like this. So I can look at it and go, oh, this is an ad that I was targeting towards this, right? So luckily I have all of that. So the first thing I had the AI do was categorize everything. I wanted a scoreboard. I wanted a scoreboard of elements. So I had to break down all of my ads into all the various elements, which meant that, okay, if an ad had a particular background image, that background image got a score. If there was text on that background image, that text got a score. The gender I was targeting got a score. The interests, the individual interests, like New Adult or Lady Gaga, they all got scores. And every time that particular element was associated with a positive allocation lift, like with profitability, it got a positive score. And every time it was associated with a negative ad, it got a negative score. So every single individual element that I ever created got its own score. And not only that, it was broken down by territory and by series. So that, let's say I used an image, the same background image in Germany as I did in the United States. Well, the audiences are different. So I can't just apply the score from Germany to the United States or vice versa. Like the audience respond differently in the different territories. So I had to break down all these individual elements by territory and by series, which ended up being 12,000 different elements, which is something that AI is very good at. So I was able to break down all those elements, give each of those elements individual scores. And once it did that, I had a way of working with everything. So now with these individual elements, I could then create an AI that says, look at all these individual elements, and I want you to construct successful ads based on the scores of each of these individual elements. Now I had to refine that a little bit as to say, well, keep major groups of elements together and only shift out the lowest performing thing. So let's say the image had like a low score versus everything else. When you recommend a new ad, remove that one element and replace it with a higher scoring element. And that's how I had it create ads that I could recommend in the future. But it wasn't just that. I mean, this gets complex. So what I also had to do was I had individual, I call them project managers. So each project manager took care of a genre. So I publish in multiple genres: male-male romance, male-male wolf shifter romance, male-male female romance, male-female contemporary romance, male-female wolf shifter romance. So I created an AI that would manage each of those genres, so it could share data between all of the books, like targeting data, territory data, image data, all that stuff could be shared between all of them. But I wanted them all to think the same, so I created a marketing manager brain. And each of those individual AIs like looked at that brain for instructions, right? So I wanted to create a pathway as if this were an ad agency. So I created AIs to take care of the different genres. I then created like a portfolio manager. So I had the project managers each come up with 20 ads. So each of those ads would be broken down into 4 categories. Again, this gets complex. So I wanted a way, like, because I have a very large catalog. I have over 800 books, individual books in various like territory, languages, and all that stuff. But I feel like the way I'm going to succeed the most is if I had all of those individual books performing as well as they could perform. But the problem is, if I have a budget and there's an ad that's like performing extremely well, all of that budget is going to go to that ad that's performing really well, and it gives no room for all the other books and series I have to like perform. So what I did was I broke ads down to 4 different categories. There are exploit ads, meaning these are the ads that like historically have performed very well. They deserve budgets, so these are like categorized exploit ads. There are also discovery ads. So these are like, I need to like constantly have new data. Let's say there's new interest I have to test. Let's say there's a new age range I want to test. I want to be able to do that so that over time, like I don't exhaust anything in particular. There's always new data coming in that I could exploit. I could turn into exploits. But more than that, there are things like Facebook Advantage Plus. Like, how well is that performing for you? There's some, like for Germany and France, Advantage Plus is performing really well. For the UK, for my male-female romance series, it's performing really well. But I don't have those answers for every series in every territory. And like, it really makes a huge difference. I can't get profitable ads if I don't add Advantage Plus for male-female romance in the UK. That's the only way it's profitable. So I need to have that answer for every genre and every territory. So I use the discovery ads as twin ads. So anything that's in exploit gets a twin ad in the discovery section that tests whether or not Advantage Plus is a winner. But not just that, it tests other things as well. So there's exploit, there's discovery, there's recovery, whereas like I've run, I'm sure over 1,000 ads over the past couple of years, right? And sometimes I stop running ads simply because there's a new book coming out and that gets priority. And I just let it go. And I could have done tests to like maybe make it continue to have profit, but I don't have the bandwidth for it. So there have been times I've just abandoned a successful book series. So recovery is about finding the one most likely to perform well over time, and then give more money to that. Then finally, there's untapped potential. Like these are book series that are profitable. Like I'm not running any ads. I haven't run any ads for the past year, and it continues to make profit. I mean, that's untapped potential, and a certain amount of budget should go to that. So I have these project managers for each of the various genres come up with a list of 20 ads that fall into these 4 categories, the best performing. And it puts all of that onto a sheet. And then the portfolio manager is this like overall strategy brain. This is the brain I say, I want to make $20,000 a month above baseline, and it's up to you to do it. And you have to look through all of these ads, figure out what the best performing ones are, the ones you have the best confidence is, and figure out what is your budget. Like right now, the budget is $200 a day you can spend on ads. And how much room do you have currently in your budget? And then fill it with those ads. So it goes through and it chooses which ads to run. And then it passes it along to what's called the builder, because the project managers, they just create recipes. They say, well, I think these various elements from the scoreboard would work. Like this set of primary text, like have the tropes and then have the chapter 1 and then have the call out to the audiobook. Like that's the recipe. So the builder then takes that recipe and kind of puts it all together. Now, and on top of that, I have what's called, what I'm calling the production pipeline manager. And that's the one that like sets everything into motion. It tells the project managers to start coming up with ads. And then it passes it along to the portfolio manager, and then passes it along to the builder. And then once the builder is done, it moves it into the where I can actually see it in the ad recommendation page. And right now there are no publishing ready ads, but it'll put it in a list of run next. And currently, I'm looking at those, like it stops there. So I could take a look to see like what it's created and just see if there's anything wrong with it. And I've had to go through many passes to get it exactly right. But I also have trained it to be able to publish. So once I see everything I like, I tell it to go ahead and publish those. And it will send everything to Facebook, and then it also goes and double checks to make sure that everything landed correctly. But then there's a whole bunch of other processes behind the scene where I like to be able to like have the name of the ad onto my Amazon attribution list, so I can go to Amazon attribution and take a look at the raw data there. And there are other things that need to happen, but it's all in there. Now, eventually I'll trust it enough to go ahead and just do it on its own. Like I'm treating this like a real employee, where like I will sit over the person's shoulder for a while, and then eventually I'll trust it and I'll let it go. And like I just published the first one yesterday, and it'll take me a couple of weeks of seeing what it decides to publish before I just go, hey, go ahead and do this. You're free to trust it and move on. But I mean, ultimately, it's doing what I hoped it would do. It is looking at, like, if we could take a look at this page here, which is all of the ads that it's run, and so this is the way you read this. Well, the green is good. That's the allocation lift. That's how much money is earned above baseline, and this is the percentage of lift. So spending this resulted in a 257% lift, return on investment sort of thing. And all the ones that have R0 are the ones that the system decided to send on its own. Like it was its decision. All these ROs. These are all like, they're only published because the app decided to publish it itself. This is mine. RO, mine, RO, and so forth and so on. Now, it's not all positive. All these reds are like money I've lost. And it has some of those in there too. And I've had to do a lot of tweaking to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. So this says that I spent $36 and had 74% loss. And this can't happen anymore. I've had to like do a lot of tweaking, so there are rules about when the budget gets increased, like it has to hit a profitable amount over 50% of the days that it's run the ad. It has to be profitable to get more budget allocated to it. There's all these safety stop gaps about after 3 days it's still 60% negative return on investment, then it automatically shuts the ad off, and then it continues to watch it. It might turn it back on. Like I've had to do a lot of massaging over time to make sure it's working properly. But I mean, ultimately speaking, if we want to take a look at how it's performing, so the last time I created a video, it was on June 1st, and it was at $3,700 monthly revenue at that time, but it was also at a basically $1,800 profit, not even above baseline, just profit. And since then, it's jumped to about 79, 78, depending on, it's just all kind of clustered together there. But the profit has jumped to like $2,800 of profit. So it's all moving in the right direction. And if you take a look at this here, like this is my grid of where there are ads being run and where the profitable and stuff. So green represents all the spots where it is profitable right now. So for women in Facebook, the ad is profitable for this series. Same thing with IG. For light green, that's where ads are being run, but it's not quite profitable yet. And it varies. Like this could have been profitable at one point, but then it got extended. So now it's spending more and it hasn't had the chance to like become profitable again. Yellow is that the ad has been shut off or is allowed to end, and it's still watching it for the 12 days afterwards because, there's a 12-day tail where the ad continues to like get revenue because of the ad. So like all the yellows are where the ads have been shut off and now we're just looking to see whether or not it's profitable. And red is where the ads have just completely ended. And it's like within the last 2 months I've run an ad, but it's been shut off. And if you look down here, this is what the project manager looks at to determine where it should run ads next. Because my male romance project manager, AI, knows that it has a gap that it needs to fill between what it's currently earning and what it has to earn to get to my ultimate goal. So the AI looks at this chart here and says, okay, well, the biggest gap is here, so I should probably run a few ads to get that gap to be smaller. And also in the UK, that's a large gap. And like it make a determination of which ads it generates versus because of the size of the gap it needs to fill to get me to $20,000 a month. So that's the system. Like ultimately, I'm kind of hands off at this point. Like next Tuesday, when the system runs again, it will put a bunch of ads in the run next list, and I'll take a look at that and go, okay, these look good. Go ahead and publish these, and ultimately I will if it'll run enough times and there are not bad errors in there, I'm just going to trust it and just allow it to do what it does. And then I'll have to do something else, like God forbid, write another book or whatever it is I choose to do. How do I spend the rest of my time? I think maybe what I will do next is I think I might create an exact system just like this. One thing for my direct sales. So this is just for my books that I have in Kindle Unlimited. And I have books that are not in Kindle Unlimited that I sell directly through my website and through Amazon, but I might create something just like this for my website to see whether or not I can get the rest of my 800 books profitable as well. But that's where I'm at. So if you'd like to see how this continues, please subscribe. And if you like the video, please hit like so I know that you're watching, and it'll encourage me to continue showing you my progress, to show you how the app is doing over time. But until next time, see you then.